You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network.
You're listening to DolphinsTalk.com daily, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet. Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. What do you say, Miami?
Good evening, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to DolphinsTalk.com daily on this Sunday, July the 25th. I am your host, Mike, joined by my brother from another mother. I'm stealing that line from the other guys. Tom Ernest. They really are brothers. I'm not really stealing nothing. Tom Ernest. Tom, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. We got a few things to talk about here in the world of the Miami Dolphins. But before we get to that, a couple shout-outs. First off, to everyone watching over at FinHeaven.com. Everyone go to FinHeaven.com, the largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. And, of course, all of our friends watching on the I Am a Miami Dolphins Fan Facebook page run by the great Carlos Hernandez. And another shout-out, I want everyone to check out the Fins Fans podcast we have here as part of the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network, hosted by Louis Ragone and Michael Fink. Give them a listen. They have a great show. Now, before we get to the news, because the Miami Dolphins made a couple signings here in the past few days, Tommy, have you heard the news? Our good friend, our colleague, our compadre, Ian Berger.
Twitter jail.
He's in Twitter jail. Ian Berger had his account suspended. The nicest man on planet Earth. The 2020 Miami Dolphins Fan of the Year. My co-host every Wednesday evening had his Twitter account suspended. So we are on the free Big E crusade. So everyone right now
Hashtag it.
on social media, on Twitter per se, follow Ian Berger at his new account at Ian693_. That's at Ian693_ until he gets matters resolved with his original account, I guess. But Big E, we are here for you. No justice, no peace, Tom.
Hey, look, at least now Ian has a burner account.
Yes, true.
For when he wants to say some nasty things. I know Ian is not that type of guy.
No, he's not.
But when he does want to start letting out some F-bombs and stuff, he'll just do it from the opposite account.
Yeah, I know. So everyone be sure to follow Ian at his new account at Ian693_. Don't forget the underscore. So, Tom, let's talk about the big news that happened late last week on, was it Thursday or Friday? Friday, I believe.
Yep.
The Miami Dolphins signed linebacker Shaquem Griffin to a 1-year deal. Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, the big story around him is he only has one hand, and it hasn't – I mean, it is what it is. He came into the league, obviously, with only one hand. He was born with only one hand, and he has jumped a lot of obstacles in life to get to where he is. But he is now a member of the Miami Dolphins.
I think it's a good signing. And, whether he makes a team or not, we'll find out come the end of August. But what he does bring to the table, he has high motivation level. We know that just based on his life story and everything that he's accomplished so far in the league. He's only played about 237 total defensive snaps in his first few seasons in the league. But what he does bring is that special teams caliber player that Brian Flores likes. Obviously, a high-motivated guy. Brian Flores is a good marriage. We just have to see what Shaquem can bring to the table and if he's able to find a spot on the roster.
Yeah, he's only had one career NFL start. Super fast. His lightning speed, can run with anybody. Mainly a special teams guy, and he's not going to compete for a starting job at linebacker, but he will be competing with the likes of Vince Beagle, Elandon Roberts, Brennan Scarlett, Samuel Guavon, Calvin Munson, and Duke Riley. You know, he's in that mix to win a backup linebacker job and contribute on special teams. And the one thing, though, with his speed, I think if he were to make the roster, Brian Flores, as we know, Tom, loves exotic blitz packages. And with that speed, you know, there might be a package or two where you put him out there and you let him loose and let him chase down the quarterback every now and then, because he does have the speed to get after someone. Not someone you're going to want on the field at linebacker a lot, but you might have a package or two where he's sort of like a joker role, where he's out there with a specific task that you can take advantage of his speed.
Yeah, you know, again, you know, he doesn't have a lot of flash defensively, or at least for this portion of his career, he doesn't. But like you said, Brian Flores likes the exotic, the exotic blitzes. He loves cover zero. I think he ran the third most kind of cover zero blitzes in the league last season. And, you know, Griffin's speed definitely will help on the outside if he has to play spot duty on defense, if he is activated, if he does make the roster. He could bring some, thunder to the defense, or lightning, I should say, because he is fast off the edge. You know, we know what Jalen Phillips could bring to the table. They have, your boy Andrew Van Ginkel,
who he and his wife just had a baby. Congratulations,
Andrew,
to Samantha and Andrew Van Ginkel.
That's awesome.
The birth of their child.
That's awesome. Well, just before training camp too. No better time to do
Perfect
it
timing. Yep.
Before training camp.
That's right. But yeah, you're right. We'll see how it goes. No lock to make this roster, but once again, he's competing with guys where he has a chance here. He has a pretty good chance here to make this team as a backup. And the Miami Dolphins were not done on Friday, Tom. Oh, no. They signed cornerback, and I hope I say this name correctly, Cre'Von LeBlanc, also to a 1-year deal. And when this signing happened, and this was probably like an hour after the Shaquem Griffin signing happened, red flags went up everywhere. Does this mean the Miami Dolphins are going to make a trade with Xavier Howard? They're looking for someone. I don't think one has anything to do with the other per se. It could be an insurance signing in case Howard holds out, or there is a deal that blows them away for Howard to be like, we got another veteran in the room, because Cre'Von LeBlanc he's played in 52 games and has 16 career starts, including one start last year in 2020. A little bit more experience. Again, I don't think one has anything to do with the other. If anything, I think this is more of an insurance signing in case Howard does not show up later this week.
Yeah, LeBlanc came into the league at the same time as Xavier Howard in 2016. He played a big role for the Bears his rookie season. After that, he's kind of fizzled out. He not putting up flashy stats. He's not seeing a ton of playing time percentage-wise. But, last year, 22 combined tackles and a sack for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a spot. It's a spot guy. He's there for camp. He's got a chance to make the roster, but he's a long shot to make the roster because the Dolphins added in Jason McCourty. If Xavier Howard does show up and they don't trade him, obviously you have Howard there. You got Igbenogany. You got Byron Jones. The list goes on. So Miami is very deep on defense, and it is tough to make this roster with the way they set up this defense and this secondary. So at the end of the day, LeBlanc is a guy there for camp right now. Maybe he makes some big plays and maybe he has a chance to make the roster. But it has nothing to do with Xavier Howard.
I don't think it has anything to do with Howard. And for Cre'Von LeBlanc, he'll be competing with the likes of Justin Coleman, Noah Igbenogany, Nick Needham, Jason McCourty, Jamal Perry, and Javarius Davis. Once again, he has a chance because he's a professional NFL capable player, not a starter per se, but could he beat out Jamal Perry? Could he beat out a Javarius Davis? Could he even beat out someone like a Nick Needham? It's possible. It's possible if Jason McCourty shows his age, because he is 34 years old. It's possible he could beat out one of those guys. For depth, I think it's a move. The Howard thing, it is what it is. We're going to find out this week. I think he's going to show up because I don't think he wants to pay the fine, but we'll see how that goes. There's ways around that fine. If he shows up and just, gets hurt early on and has to be on the sideline or he can't participate, don't be shocked by that either, because there's ways around not being fined in this for him. So we'll find out. Who knows? It's going to be an interesting week, to say the least, with that. Tom, we have to talk Manscaped. You know, summer, it's late July. I know people are looking forward to the fall and looking forward to football season, but it's still summer. And the sun's out, bums are out, and hopefully your pubes are not out. Also, flip-flop season is upon us, and you're out here with those post-pandemic toenails. Don't worry. Your friends at Manscaped have you covered. They just launched their 4th-generation performance package with the Shears 2.0 nail grooming kit. Everyone go to manscaped.com, use the promo code DolphinsTalk, save 20% on your order, and get free shipping. The trimmer is waterproofed, so you can trim in the shower and not worry about your cleanup on aisle D. That's right, aisle D. The Weed Whacker is also waterproofed and uses a 9,000 RPM motor. A 9,000 RPM motor, 360-degree rotary dual-bladed system. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those sensitive nostrils of yours. Use the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner to keep you on your game in the heat. So everyone go to manscaped.com, use the promo code DolphinsTalk, save 20%, get free shipping, because it's Manscaped and they have the best products on the market.
If you're a female, just enjoy the ads.
Just
enjoy the read that we do.
Or buy something for your husband or boyfriend so you can pick up your game.
Absolutely.
If you got some out-of-control hairs in places they shouldn't be out of control. Right, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't have out-of-control hair in the areas that the females may partake in. So
in your ears, your nostrils, or below the waist. The key areas on men. A little bit of news around the league that I don't know if it pertains to the Miami Dolphins, but it's worth keeping one eye on and keeping an ear open. Yeah. On Sunday, this afternoon, the Chandler Jones, the elite pass rusher for the Arizona Cardinals, it came out, he has requested a trade from Arizona. He wants out. Not happy in Arizona. Well, essentially he wants more money. Shocking. And he's in the final year of his contract, and it sounds like Arizona is really not going to accommodate that request. So he has requested a trade. Now, how does that affect the Miami Dolphins? Hear me out, Tom. The Miami Dolphins recently have sort of kicked the tires here on some edge rushers. Melvin Ingram, he did sign with Pittsburgh, but Miami showed interest. And we know that Chandler Jones also played for Coach Flores in New England when he was when they were both with the Patriots. So there's a little bit of familiarity there. Also, Chandler Jones wants out of Arizona. Miami also has a player who wants more money. And guess what the Arizona Cardinals have a gaping hole at? Cornerback. Could we see a marriage here? Could two teams who have headaches on their hands, one in Xavier Howard with Miami, one with Chandler Jones. Now, it's not an even swap because Jones in the final year of his deal, a little bit older. Arizona would have to toss in some picks or a player or whatever to make it work. It's not a one-for-one deal because that's not fair. Howard has way more value. But Arizona, maybe they take Howard, they can pay him more, and they can solve an issue of cornerback. Miami can get another pass rusher. They'd have to pay him and give him a new deal, or else this trade makes zero sense. Yeah. But, Tom, number one, you don't have – they could pay him and not be, like, locked into him for 3-4 years. Front load the money because he is 31, and we know how this Miami Dolphins front office, anybody over 30 years old, they think is just, over the hill, AARP card. We can't have anybody. But 31, you can give him a deal where all the money's in year 1 and 2, per se. You're only locked into him for a couple of years. And I don't know. I could see a possible marriage. Not saying it will happen. Not saying I've heard anything. Just saying it wouldn't be the – look, if this Howard thing ain't going to end well, which I don't know if it will or won't, this wouldn't be the worst way out of this.
No, absolutely not. Chandler Jones from my hometown, born in my hometown of Rochester, New York. tremendous NFL career so far.
He had like 19 sacks in a season a couple years ago.
Yeah, so it was 2019. He had 19 sacks, 8 forced fumbles. 8.
The guy's elite.
He's absolutely elite. He had time in New England. Obviously, he was drafted there, was traded to Arizona because he was coming up on his contract. We know Belichick doesn't like to pay anybody when they're getting ready for their second contract. Traded him to Arizona. Since he was in Arizona, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. His first year in Arizona, 11 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 17 sacks. His second season, 13 year 3, 19 in year 4. And last year only played 5 games due to injury. He did have 1 sack last year in those 5 games, but he is an absolute monster. Absolute monster. He can play with his hand on the ground. He can play outside linebacker. He's the type of player that Brian Flores covets for his defense. Chandler Jones is an absolute monster, and if the Dolphins have the opportunity to discuss a trade with him, and they know Xavier Howard is not going to be happy with whatever the Dolphins' decision is going to be, Arizona is my first call to see if they can pry away Chandler Jones, because you can't have too many pass rushers in a division when a quarterback right now named Josh Allen eats your lunch the 2 times a year you play him. They need to get someone in that backfield, and they need to cause havoc and force the issue. He will absolutely do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of this is when it comes to Jones is, this front office of the Miami Dolphins has sort of brainwashed the fan base almost. I think anyone over the age of 30, you can just never touch, avoid at all costs. And it's not true in the NFL. We just saw a team in Tampa Bay, with a lot of guys over 30 win a Super Bowl. Now, granted, they had Tom Brady, which is a big X factor. But even take him out of the mix. There's a lot of guys in that roster over the age of 30 years old. And you can have – it's not against the rules to have a couple guys over the age of 30. The other thing is why I think Miami – why they might overlook his age here. Once again, we're talking about 31 like he's in his 40s. Why they might look past that is the Miami Dolphins and head coach Brian Flores just signed Jason McCourty, who's going to be 34 in about a week. Why do they sign him? Because he has familiarity with him. He was his coach with New England. If you're going to overlook the age on a guy, it might be a guy you have familiarity with. That's why I'm even giving this even a little bit of credence. Once again, I don't know if it's going to happen. Odds are it probably won't. No, but we don't know where this. It's fun to talk about because I don't know how this Howard story is going to play out. You don't know how this Howard story is going to play out. Nobody does. I do think he'll show up this week because I don't think he wants to pay those fines that he can't get out of. And when you look at Jones, again, recent years. Now, he only played 5 games last year because he was hurt and he tore a bicep. But prior to that, 19 sacks, 13 sacks, 17 sacks, 11 sacks, 12.5 sacks. I mean, good Lord, this guy can get after the quarterback. And if you think Jalen Phillips is going to be what we all think he will be, and if you plan on holding on to Emmanuel Ogbah after this year, and then you throw in Chandler Jones, all of a sudden you got a pass rush that is to be reckoned with, not even counting guys like Andrew Van Ginkel. And I just think
Andrew Baker
to get after it, speed guys. So who knows? But it's an option here. Even if it's here's the thing. Whatever team trades for him knows they're going to have to pay him. Otherwise, why trade for him? So maybe if Howard's not even involved in this, Miami could get him for a second. That would be worth like a second-round pick, I think, because he is that good. I mean, I don't know what Arizona wants, but it's worth keeping an eye on because guys like this just don't come around or aren't available that often. And I don't think it's a break-the-bank type thing. It might be for the first 2 years of the deal, but that's, once again, the salary cap's going up next year.
Yep. Something
you factor in.
Dolphins have cap next year based on current projections.
And if you think this is a team that's either now is in win-now mode or will be next year, hello, why would you want this guy around for that?
And I'll tell you something, too. The term rebuild is done.
Oh, it's over.
Miami Dolphins.
It's absolutely over.
it's time to put up or shut up. The rebuild lasted 2 years. They well overachieved last year with 10 wins. I didn't think they were going to get to 10, per se, but they got there. The numbers on defense were fantastic. Offense was still suspect. Thank you, Chan Gailey. And, the results need to be there again. The defense, everyone says that everything has to take a step forward. The defense was borderline top 5 last year in scoring defense. They still need to take a step forward. And the offense, obviously now with the new weapons, Tua's second year, they need to make a huge move and get to the playoffs this year and see if they can cause some damage, because rebuild is over. And trading Chandler Jones, if the opportunity presents itself, is 100% a win now move. And even if they trade Xavier Howard in that scenario, potentially, that's still a win now move, because they believe in Noah Igbenogany at this point, and they brought in Jason McCourty just in case things go astray with Howard. So be rest assured, I don't want Xavier Howard traded.
Nobody does.
He deserves to be here. But if the team decides to move on from Howard, they're prepared for it. And they prepared for it starting last year with Igbenogany, because they had no idea how Howard was going to come back from injury. And now, again, some of the moves that they've made shows you that they are prepared in the event they decide to move on.
Yep, absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And Tom, here, as we wrap up this shorter version of a show, training camp opens this week, and there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on the camp. So I guess a few things. Number one, the only thing I really look for out of these practices is for nobody to get hurt. Because really, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. These practices.
I still have a twitch from when Tannehill got hurt.
Exactly.
In 17.
You can read into these practices who played well, who didn't play well. Half the practices are not even in pads, and then the ones they are, you take everything with a grain of salt because you're going against the same guys over and over and over again. Yeah. And I know they have a couple joint practices this year, which those probably mean the most out of anything. Yeah. I get more out of them than I do out of any preseason game, than I do out of any regular practice. Because every year this time we hear how Isaiah Ford's tearing it up in practice, and we get to the season and he stinks on toast. So I don't really care who's playing well in practice. Nobody gets paid for playing well in practice. Tua Tagovailoa can throw 100 touchdowns and no interceptions in practice. If he stinks week 1, he's getting ripped. So it doesn't matter. Nothing matters in practice. But I will say a couple of these position battles are going to be interesting to watch. Number one, the offensive line. I do not think, just me, week 1, you can go out there with a combination, I don't care where they line up, of Hunt, Eichenberg, Austin Jackson, Solomon Kinley. I think a veteran, whether it's Fluker or whoever, or Jesse Davis, has to be mixed in at one of those spots. Now, I don't care which one. I don't know who the odd man out will be. And whoever is the odd man out, it's not the end of the world, because by week 6 or 7, they'll probably try to slowly get you back in because they're going to be the future. I just think, and I kind of hope, that one of those veterans sort of stands out here in camp, and that takes a job from one of the younger guys, but, just plays well enough to where you might be able to justify starting them week 1, 2, and the first month. The other spot to keep an eye on will be wide receiver, because we got more wide receivers than we know what to do with. And also running back. I know everyone's in love with Myles Gaskin, and I love Myles Gaskin last year, Tom. After every post-game show, I gave him a game ball, seems like more times than not. Yep. Big Myles Gaskin fan. Wouldn't be impossible for someone to supplant him and outshine him either. He's a nice player, but, people start comparing him to, Walter Payton and stuff. It gets a little crazy. So those are the 3 spots I'm looking for. I will have a close eye on: offensive line, wide receiver, running back.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're going through the series with Dante talking about training camp and everything, and you hit the nail on the head. Obviously, wide receiver is probably for me is the one position I am going to absolutely have my eyes on for the entire time camp happens, because you have right now 4 guys you can pretty much put in permanent marker that they are going to be a member of the Miami Dolphins. Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle, Will Fuller, and I will probably throw Albert Wilson in there if he stays healthy.
Preston Williams ain't going nowhere. He makes so little money.
Correct.
He makes
Preston
so
Williams,
little money, they're not getting rid of him.
So you got 2 spots available. You could pretty much put Preston Williams in at number 5, and then you got a logjam for the 6th spot. You have Lynn Bowden Jr., who I believe the team was high on last year. They traded for him. They traded for him after he was drafted by the Raiders
in round 3.
Yeah, and he performed fairly well when he was asked to be really the guy in the last few weeks of the season. You have Jakeem Grant, excellent special teams guy, can't catch a cold. Mac Hollins, spot player on offense, excellent special teamer. Isaiah Ford is back. I mean, the guy's got more lives than a cat.
Reuben Foster,
who is an absolute blazer out there.
Take Matt Collins' job probably.
And
be shocked.
You have
Hearns.
So many options out there, and it's not bad to have all that depth in case for some reason an injury occurs and you lose a player for a period of time. You have someone that can step up. This is probably the deepest receiving core and the most talented receiving core the Miami Dolphins have had in quite some time.
Yeah, I'm not so sure Wilson's a lock, like you said. But I think the guys to keep an eye on here are Lynn Bowden, like you said. They traded for him, 3rd-round pick. The guy, plus he might also be able to help him out at running back in a pinch, which could be a need here because they have no depth at running back. Lynn Bowden, I think, is going to make this team. Malcolm Perry is another guy.
Well, look, before you move on, I want to reiterate that what was said. The practice squad rosters are up to 16 again. They carried over the same amount. You can secure 4 guys as locks on. They cannot be touched on your practice squad each week.
I know.
So you are able to stash veterans on there.
Other teams can still poach them, though. So you got to be careful.
You could, but if you lock them up every week. And I know New England's salivating to get Malcolm Perry. So
I know.
Malcolm Perry.
So
he doesn't crack the 52. I think they will keep him on the 53, actually, if they really like him, and then just stash him on the practice squad after the fact.
And the other guy's Hearns. That's why I don't know if Wilson's the lock that you think, because Hearns, it was November of the 2019 season. They gave him an extension. I know this group likes him a lot, and he opted out last year, obviously, but he has something Wilson does not in that size. Obviously, they're not the same type of player, I know, but I wouldn't write off Hearns so quick. I'm not writing off Wilson either. I'm just saying I don't think it's a lock, because I do think Tom, what's the one thing we've seen with this staff and this front office, no matter what, they will go with youth over anything. This front office and staff is allergic to veterans. They do not want veterans. They want young guys. So I do think, the Lynn Bowden's, Malcolm Perry's have a little bit of an edge over guys like Grant, Wilson, and Hearns when push comes to shove. We'll see, though. Who knows? And also with wide receiver, because Will Fuller is out week 1. I know it's just 1 week, not that big a deal. They might carry an extra wide receiver into week 1 than they normally would. So we'll see. But yeah, those are the 3 spots: offensive line, wide receiver, and also running back. Because I do think that the 7th-round pick, the kid out of Cincinnati, Jared Dokes, if he had a hell of a summer, I'm not saying he's going to win the job and start, but he could be the number 2 guy. Once again, it's not like he got a murderer's row in front of them at running back on the depth chart. Anybody can really jump up and, as they say, grab that brass ring of opportunity, Tom.
He's a bruiser.
He is, and that's kind of what they need. And I do think that they are still, at some point, will add a veteran running back, but it probably might not be until after week 1 of the regular season when no contract is guaranteed. So if they do add a running back, it might not be here in the summer. It might not be until after week 1, after the Patriots game, where anyone they were to add, their contract is not guaranteed for the 2021 season. Other side of the ball, really, a lot of depth at cornerback, but I don't know if we're going to see a lot of surprise there. And the front seven seems pretty much locked in. It would take almost a minor miracle for somebody to crack that group. It's going to be tough. But that's all for tonight's show. Everyone, like we said at the top, free Big E. Make sure you're following him at his new Twitter account at Ian693_. Tom, we have a lot of stuff coming up here for the season. Obviously, training camp starts this week. Keep checking out the website, dolphinstalk.com, for all the latest news, rumors, and information, training camp updates, and all that good stuff. Also, we're going to be we have a lot of new shows coming this season. It's going to be, of course, centered around the Miami Dolphins, but also sort of branch out a little bit into some new creative areas about the Dolphins that are going to, some shows will just be on YouTube. Some shows will be also in podcast form. But so make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel, dolphinstalk.com. And when you watch the shows, Tom, as the kids say, smash that like button.
Smash it, baby.
See right here, right now, too, on our graphic that we have, it says like and subscribe. That's for YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. And also make sure you're following us on Twitter at Dolphins Talk Tom, at Dolphins Talk. What else? You got anything, Tom? How was your weekend?
It's good. My daughter's 4th birthday is coming up on Wednesday. I feel old already.
You are old.
Yeah, I'm getting there. The gray
not as
hair
old as me, but
I have to wear. I have to. I love wearing hats, but I gotta wear them more now. The grays are really starting to form.
Yeah, I know. And we will be announcing soon what week, maybe in a couple weeks. We'll announce what week Tom and myself will be flying down to Miami for a few days. And maybe if anyone wants to meet up with us, hang out a little bit, we can try to set something up. I don't know. But we will be going down for a game this year, and we'll announce that in the coming weeks as we finalize everything with that. So it's going to be a lot of fun because we can get watch. Last year, we went 2018, 2019. The team stunk. 2020, we stay home. The team's good. We're going to go this year and watch the team not have a good season. If it is, we're never going again.
Listen, I missed the chance to go last year to the team store. I can't promise anything regarding a jersey just yet. So Mike will take a picture of the jersey I choose. Just,
Isaiah Ford. Because I don't care what happens to him.
Custom made. I'll get one custom made.
You ought to get one of those jerseys that just says Dolphins Talk Tom #1 or something. So I don't know, something that will just never go out of style. I always tell you every year, just get number 13 Marino. He ain't coming back. He'll never leave.
One. Last time we were there, I did get.
You did get one last time. Zonka, get Zonka. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your Sunday night. Everyone, have a great Monday, and we'll talk to you again after a while.
Fins up.